All right, so I'm going to introduce the XP pen, and the model I have is actually called the Star 06. So if you quickly look at the tablet, you'll see that you have the tablet, um, the docking station for your pen, and then on the tablet you'll see 6 express keys and a scroll wheel. So it's pretty basic with the functionalities. Um, you would think that initially when I first had got this, I would have thought that you'd have to charge the pen, but the cool thing is you actually don't. This docking station actually just serves as like a placeholder if you don't keep your pen in this little tiny slot right here, which I typically do. But if you're using it a lot, it comes with multiple pen tips, and the pen tips can kind of get dulled down. So the bottom of this docking station is actually used to change out the tips of the pen. So that's its primary purpose. So once you get it, the first thing you have to do is go to their website, which is xppen.com, search for model, which mine's the Star 06. You can click by products and you see all the different kinds that they do have. Mine's a pretty basic version. It's the Star 06, and you'll go down, if you're running a Mac or an XP, and you just download the driver. And what that'll do is that'll give you called a tablet. And the tablet is actually what you use to map out what functionalities you want. And the first thing you'll notice is I have no actions on my pen settings. And that's because I write kind of sloppy sometimes, and I'll grab my pen without notice sometimes, and my thumb will actually accidentally click one of the 2 buttons on the pen, and it'll switch. You can switch it to like from pen to eraser and back and forth. So sometimes I'll grab it real quick when I'm talking, or I'm in a hurry, or a lesson's going good and I'm excited. I'll accidentally click it, and instead of writing, I'll start erasing everything that I've wrote. So I typically use a browser to go back and forth from pen to eraser, and I'll show you guys what browser I use. So you can modify this any way you want, but I keep mine on no action just because I'll click too much and accidentally erase things. If you guys run dual monitors, you guys can we have that custom monitor. You guys can modify which one you want it to use. The custom display mapping is wherever from these bullet points on the tablet, which they're marked off by little right angles, maps my whole screen. So for example, if I press right here on my tablet, it's going to be about right here on my screen. If I go left to right, it'll actually go from left to right. So it maps out where your workspace and it modifies it here. Now, it doesn't display your screen on your board. Some of them actually do that, which is really cool because it's a little bit neater. But once you play around with it and kind of get comfortable enough, it's kind of like driving a car. You kind of know where you have to be. There's lessons that I can just throw my pen down right here and I'm working on a problem. So it just takes with practice. I know my co-teacher. Oops, I messed that up. My co-teacher, Miss Campbell, last year, she had started using this, and she was a little bit confused on how I got it so right all the time. And once she kept practicing, she was able to understand how I was doing it the way I was doing it. So that's the cool thing about it. Let me actually modify my workstation. But yeah, it just takes practice. At first it's going to seem like, oh, this is so hard. I don't know how to do this. This is way above what I'm used to doing. Once you keep practicing and practicing, it's second nature almost. The pen pressure I've never messed with, so I can't really. I just have it where almost it's like writing with a pen. You just put it to the paper. I don't have to press hard. I don't have to be real light, and it's consistent all the way through. And that's really the main things with these. Your map on your screen, what actions you want, and how hard you want to push. Which I would not mess with that, and I don't think unless you're doing a drawing activity, I would see where you would want, if you press harder, it applies thicker. But just with schoolwork, I've never messed with this one. On the tablet itself, when you first get it, the back of it, you'll have the USB, which is where you charge it. And I charge mine on my computer, and I will say that it does stay charged for about a week at a time. I'll charge it one morning, 45 minutes, and I don't have to charge it up the rest of the time. This is your battery pack. You have your power and on and off button, which I've never really turned mine off. I just leave it on, and it kind of like goes into sleep mode. the USB receiver. This USB receiver is hidden back here, which is, we were confused when Miss Campbell first got it because I didn't know how to get it to work, because the one I was using was, this is wireless, it's Bluetooth connected. And I didn't know how to get it to work. And when I uncovered the back panel battery cover, I found out that there's a little tiny USB in it, and it's very small. So I keep this plugged in one of my back USB ports on my laptop at all times, and I never take it out because it's very easy to get lost. And again, here's your pen stand. Here's the bottom of the pen stand, what it looks like, and you take your the tip of the pen, put it in there, twist it, pull it off, and then put the other one in, and it slides right in. It's super easy to do. I've used mine a ton, and I've actually never changed my pen tip. And again, these are the shortcut keys and the roller key, and I'll show you what that looks like. And you also can change those from here. I forgot to mention that. On the XP pen, or the Penta, it's called Penta tablet, it'll sometimes show up down here. You can use express keys, and I've never changed them. I know that K6, which is the bottom right, is the one that I always use to switch, and I'll show you what that looks like in action. And I've used this K3. This was actually B, I did switch that. I've never switched these. I think this is pretty much if you're using like Adobe, or not Adobe, if you're using any of these drawing or editing softwares, and I don't use that, obviously. So I've never really switched these. I just know K6 is very important to me, and K3, but mainly K6, and I'll show you why. So if I minimize that, that's my conjunctions, I'll go to what it looks like in action. So I go to my Think Central when I teach math, and I'll use the PDF version, and I'll open it on Microsoft Edge, because Microsoft Edge has these cool things at the top. You can draw, highlight, and erase, all allowed. So when I teach a lesson, for example, today's lesson will be down here. I leave this up at all the time. And my K6 key, which is I think I erased it. My K6 key, which is my bottom right key. If you look down here at the bottom, you'll see it. You have switch mode, you have the control plus control, and the scroll mode. So if I use the scroll mode, I'm using my scroll wheel. So if I go left, it goes down. If I go right, it goes up. Because you don't want to have to. I keep my desk and everything at the back of my classroom, and I didn't really like kids looking back at me for confirmation. They look forward to the board and they have to look back. They look forward, they look back. And I didn't like that, and I was doing that last year when I was on a cord drawing tablet. So we wanted to see if a Bluetooth one worked. So instead of having to walk from the front of the classroom all the way to the back to scroll down to see the next problem, this has a scroll wheel. And then if a kid can't see, I'll press Control-6 again, and you'll see the plus. When you see the plus, I can zoom in. So if they say, "Oh, you need to zoom in," I can't really see it because I had a student who was visually impaired. I was able to zoom in, scroll, and find where he needed, assistance at. And it's easy. It's just Control plus. You got to click it a few times, but once you get used to it, it's real easy. So let me zoom this back out. And if you want to know what it looks like, I'll take my pen and I'll slowly slide up and I'll click draw. And I'm going to scroll down, and let's just scroll down to. Let's scroll down to a problem. So they want us to draw models, and you want to draw. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. And I like to map my screen out more, because drawing on a whiteboard, in a lot of the buildings, these whiteboards don't clean well and they stay dirty. So I do everything digitally. If I have to start writing notes, I'll go to Ziteboard. And if you scroll down Ziteboard, you'll have a cool, huge, I mean, this is absolutely massive drawing board. So when we want to do practice problems, I'll give them a problem. I'll do like 28 times 17. And I can easily erase it from here. Or I can just scroll out. Let's do 54 times 19. We solve it. I can just go right here with my drawing tablet, go over to the next spot. A huge drawing board. And I use that as kind of like my whiteboard just because it's easier to see. I can keep dim lights in here, and my projector is strong enough to project it to the class, and kind of it's easier on their eyes, in my opinion. But the cool thing is I don't have to stand right at the board as I'm teaching the lesson. I can walk around the classroom holding the drawing tablet in my hand and scroll through the lesson. And, if they have a trouble, I can still keep hold of the class by keeping them projected towards the board and walk around and monitor, how are kids doing? Are they getting it? Are they not? If they're not, I'll stop by their desk and I can sit this down anywhere, and it works. And it's been really beneficial because when I did all my virtual videos, I didn't have to project, my hand in front of the paper, because some people do project papers, and as they're writing, their hands in front of it, you'll never see my hand. The kids aren't spending half the time looking at my hand writing a problem, and I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but this is more, I thought this was a good 21st century approach to learning. And we don't even do virtual learning hardly ever. I still make some videos for kids who are on quarantine, but I still use this every day. And the new reading series for the elementary, Wanders, it does great with that. That has its own little mapping tool where you can type as well. But for the math portion, this works great. And if I ever have to make videos, or if we have to do any social studies assignments, science, I project it all, and I do everything on the Microsoft Edge. But again, this is the best thing about it is where I can walk around the class. I'm not tied to the back of the room near my computer, and I'm not tied to the front of the room near my board. I can make sure every student's on task at all times with little to no worries. Super easy to set up, super easy to download. Once the receiver's in, your program's downloaded, it's start and go. Like I said, Microsoft Edge is beautiful because it does allow you to have these tools up here. Some people use these other programs, and it works fine too if you get the PDF on there. But typically, my Microsoft Edge is filled up with all these assignments. I normally have my math, my reading, our social studies work, a Zeitboard all up at one time. And, at the end of the day, instead of having to do this every day, find the page, it's normally a running record. My computer actually reset last night and restarted for an update. So I didn't restore my pages, but normally it's a running record. I don't know if even my old pages are saved. And yeah, none of my old pages did save, and that's kind of a bummer because you can save everything right here. And like if a student misses, I can print these pages off with my work on it as like notes for them. So that's another cool thing about this. It's been good about keeping kids up to date. It's been good, just simply all around. So I know that was a little short, but hopefully if you have any questions, I can be here to answer any of it. Thank you.